Alright, what's up, true believers? This is Agasically Stamus from Gearworks.com, back with another episode of my gaming diary on the Rounding Off Infinity channel on YouTube, if you're watching the archive version, or just the Agasicles channel on Twitch. So it has not been without a small amount of effort that I have finally gotten DiRT 2 working on my primary gaming PC. Man, I think this is gonna... Yeah. Now this worked smoothly and perfectly without any issues last night, of course, tonight. Oh, okay, I got it. So, like I said, I went through a ton of effort last night trying to figure out all the different workarounds to get this running. Like I said, it is not an easy thing to get a game from 2009 that was under the Games for Windows moniker to come up and run the way you want it to. I don't actually know if I have a car for this. So, there's all sorts of things you have to do. I don't know that any one of the things that I did was right. I just know that I had to use about 2 or 3 of the various workarounds that are posted out there to get this to work. I mistakenly thought that Games for Windows Live had been excised from DiRT 2, but that was actually done with DiRT 3, which I think you can run with no presentation of the Games for Windows Live framework. But this one still has it, and it creates a number of issues. Okay, so I guess you already... Oh, no. Ah, really? You gotta go all the way back? Okay. Alright, I do have some other liveries for this. I don't even know how you honk your horn in this game. I should have picked... come on. Select for all. I'm going to add... okay, so all I have is the dashboard toy. So anyway, I had to download quite a few files and... use a lot of workarounds to get it to run, and it still comes up kind of very shakily. I have to try and run one file which won't actually run, but I guess it runs partially and enables me to then launch the executable, which I have to run by right-clicking and hitting Run as Administrator. So I actually need to... I meant to zero out the music in this game because I'm worried that it's copyrighted. See how this goes. I have live-streamed or posted a capture of DiRT 2 before, way back in the day, so I'm hoping that nobody flexes on any sense of copyright here. So there's quite a few amazing things. This was very troubling and problematic, like I said, to get this running. But there's a few cool things. Oh, few cool things that... Yeah, we're gonna have to start that over. But there's a few very cool things that I encountered along the way, and so I guess first of all, let me talk through the troubleshooting I had to go through. So, and as always, I will cover the different hardware that's in use today, this afternoon for the live stream. So, wow. So last night, first of all, when so I'm playing this on my primary gaming PC. Oh man, everybody cuts under you on these corners. So when I brought the game up, when I finally got the game working last night, and was ready to start trying to play it, well, I guess before I even got the game working, I wasn't getting any audio into the headphones that I was trying to use to actually hear the in-game audio. So now to do that today, and where I started last night was by taking an audio feed out of the back of my 27-inch LG 4K monitor. Come on, show me what you got. Nope. I tried to outbrake that guy and dig a little further into the turn. Try as hard as I can. I just don't think I'm going to catch Mira. Whoa, yeah, Dave, apparently it is. So, so I wasn't getting any audio into my headphones, and troubleshot for a little bit, but one of the distinct attempts I made was to unplug the headphones out of the back of the monitor. Of course, it was about 30 minutes later, 20 minutes later maybe, that I realized and remembered that even though this LG 27-inch 4K monitor has a headphone jack on the back, it doesn't actually have speakers. So I was struggling the whole time trying to figure out why I wasn't getting audio, thinking that I was waiting to hear the speakers from the monitor, but of course I never heard them. So anyway, just to go back, so I had the headphones plugged in and wasn't getting any audio, so I unplugged the headphones and spent a lot of time troubleshooting, trying to use the speaker monitors to validate what was going on with audio, and of course that was never going to work. So I had a 3.5mm stereo cable plugged into the back before I swapped it out for the headphones. That was running over to my Vanatu studio monitors. And the first time I plugged that cable back in to try and check audio, it also didn't work. So I switched over to my NVIDIA Shield Android TV to use that to check, and that also didn't work, at least initially. And then eventually I got around to plugging my headphones back in, and all of a sudden it started working. So, as well as the speakers. So I don't know what was going on. And during this time, I also swapped the cables from the video capture device that I was using to just take a feed straight from the PC. So I got the speakers working, plugged everything back in. When I plugged the HDMI cables with the pass through from the PC to the video capture device, and then back over to the monitor. So once I get everything all wired back up, I started having a lot of problems trying to get the monitor resolution back to where it was. And if you have a 4K monitor, I don't know what your experience is with buying, is that it is very wonky when you try and shift and transition resolutions, particularly if you're using a dual monitor setup. So what happened last night is this monitor usually gives me a max of 3840 by 2160 resolution. Last night, seemingly out of nowhere, it I think the longer axis is 3860. Last night it started presenting me options for 40. I think true 4K is 4086 or 4096 by 2160. So it started presenting me that option. Now that might be due to a driver update to the NVIDIA drivers. I'm not sure. But when I selected that resolution, either the monitor or the video capture device started giving me an out of range error message flashing on the screen. Now, I think this video capture device that I'm using will take for a UHD input, so that's the 3860 by, or whatever it is, 3860 by 3186 by 2160, whatever it is, will take that UHD input, but it doesn't like it at 60 hertz, so I have to step it down to like 59 hertz and then it'll work. So I monkeyed around trying to get the full HD resolution to work, could never get that to work under any circumstances, and eventually went back, and then I went below it to like the, I forget what it is, the 27 or 28 whatever resolution by 1440, and eventually I just went back to the 38. Like I said, I looked up all these resolutions last night and I don't remember them. I don't remember them perfectly right now. So whatever is 3876 by 2160 or whatever. But it's a bit of a struggle to kind of strong arm the monitor and the video capture device to do what I wanted them to do. So I finally got everything sutured back up together and working, and did a couple test runs last night. So once I had everything working, what was really interesting was and I'm not sure. There's a little bit of this going on. So I spent a lot of the year, this being the year that I got 4K monitors for my gaming PCs. I spent a chunk of time complaining about how there were so many games that were not 4K enabled, and how frustrating that was. I think the other thing I've been complaining about is how many games are not SLI enabled of new games, or even games that are recent, like within the past 3 years, and are highly played and well-known games, but still haven't enabled SLI. Which is a little frustrating. But amazingly, this game is 4K enabled. Now, this game came out in 2009, and I can't imagine the conversation that was had at Codemasters that allowed them to arrive at the decision that it made sense to go back and enable 4K resolutions for this game. But I am very happy. And the game looks amazingly well for a game that's 8 years old. Still no windshield toys. So again, it was really problematic getting the game up and running, but now that it is running, and it's running in 4K, it's a pretty awesome experience. Now, of course, in my live stream, I'm stepping that down to 720p, so you're not seeing the full impact of it, but it looks wonderful here looking at it locally on this monitor. Now, one of the things I'm concerned about that I'll have to see once this is done is I don't know if there's some clipping and kind of scan line effects going on because on my streaming software I have that set to 48 frames per second, which is a little different than the norm, but I don't normally like trying to go at 60 frames, but I noticed that I had a setting available for me to try 48, so I set the software up as such. Now, with all that being said, let's go ahead and switch over to my normal broadcast format, and ow! We're doing that over. And start talking through the hardware setup that's in place for the live stream today. So, like I said, I am playing on my primary gaming PC, which is fitted out with a AMD FX processor. I think the Vishnaya core or whatever. It's like a 6-core processor with 32 gigabytes of RAM. I don't remember what speed it functions at anymore. It's now officially about a year since I built it. I feel like I've gotten pretty decent use out of it, although I've been playing this year much more on my secondary gaming PC, which is a little underspec in comparison to this one. Now this one is kitted out with two NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070s, configured in SLI. Of course, this is not an SLI configured game. Ooh. This is rough. Now, of course, in DiRT 2, one of the things they have is they have this rivalry feature set. I feel like it's kind of a racing version of the Nemesis system, where some of these drivers will be your friends and some of them will be enemies. So the ones who are your friends, when you accidentally bump into them, they let it go. But then others who are not your friends take it personally and may come back to give you a knock or two. It would be good if I can get into... So these are not laps, this is cross country, right? This is not the same. I went sideways. That's only halfway through the race. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start that over. So again, primary gaming PC, fitted out with two NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1070s. I run a 1 terabyte SSD for my operating system drive, and then I have a 4 terabyte storage drive. I think I even hit that dude. Okay, yeah, you got into me that time, buddy. Yeah, that could have gone very badly. Whoa. Oh, man, that was going so well, too. Ugh. Well, so if you have never watched my channel before with any racing games, I do not use the rewind feature that most Codemasters games have, which I think you can access it here in this game via the instant replay menu button, and choose to rewind it and pick up at any point in the instant replay. Sorry. You went far left like I did. Yeah, this course is so tight that there's just no way to avoid anybody. Do a switch over here. Man, I grabbed a handful of brake to get through that. I'm gonna have to actually have an earbud coming out here. So this race is actually going a lot better in terms of my positioning. Shut up, Dave. So that's the gaming system I'm playing, and I'm using the, I'm playing with the, Alright, so I'm still in fourth, so that's not horrible. I'm going to stick with this and not start it over. We're just barely over 50% through the course, so I may actually be able to recover. Come on, don't tailspin. Part of my problem is, of course, I've never seen this track before. I'm not familiar with it at all, so.
I can take this.
I don't think you can, man. You're further out of position than I am. Good news is, still in fourth. I'm catching up to the pack because they're all jostling for position amongst themselves. Let's see how this goes. Making a run. I'm at least on podium. If I get a long run straight here. Oh, wow. That rock could have given me a bad day. Nice. Very cool. So that's the system that's in play. For the streaming rig, what I've got hooked up is I am, as my video capture / streaming device, I'm using the BlackMagic Design Web Presenter, which is a really cool piece of kit. It's a prosumer level piece of equipment. I would classify it as. It's actually kind of designed to use for studio work or a live video feed out in the field, and it has I bought the Tyrannix mini panel to slap on the front of it, which gives you buttons in a menu system that allows you to switch two different live video feeds back and forth. And actually, a recent firmware update allowed you to enable transitions and manually configure the audio mix. Although I haven't gotten great results with that, so I'm actually not pumping my voiceover commentary through it. Oh, okay, so that's, I'll continue. So what I don't understand, didn't I just run that? Yeah, so I'm missing the, I guess the white XP label below it is what differentiates and will remind me which ones I've played before or not. So excuse me for a second, I just want to check and verify that the live stream is still going. Unfortunately, I don't. Looks like the stream is still good. I do wish I had a timer to tell me how long I've been up. So I think I'm going to go for about 6 more minutes before I break in between this live stream and my next one. So I'm using the BlackMagic Web Presenter as my video capture device. So I bought it actually to use with primarily to upgrade the quality of my podcast for the E2KG network. Did not know until I got it and read it on the box that it's also able to be used as a video streaming device for gaming. Okay. Can't afford a higher end machine, but I do own an Eclipse and I can fit that out for Rally. I hate these. Now, DiRT 2 only had so much fidelity in its physics model, and it looks really good right now, but it still has very skatey kind of feel to its driving model. What's that little tiny sign, like an extra time? I missed that. I missed it because I didn't know what it was. Yeah, so I bought the BlackMagic Web Presenter primarily to upgrade the quality of my podcasts, and then started using it for video game streaming as well. The device can capture at all sorts of resolutions, but only outputs at 720p, which is fine. It's not the only, quite a few capture cards, which, when you get down to what their real-world performance capabilities are, that's pretty much all they can do as well, regardless of what they advertise. Ooh. Yeah, that's weird. Wow, this is a really long... I knew that jump was going to bounce me in a way that was going to make it difficult to hit the next gate. I have never liked these kind of events. I mean, since racing games got real, which I equate with the release of Gran Turismo on the original PlayStation, so what is that, like 1996? 95. I've hated that kind of speed gate event. Alright, first place. Can't hate too much. Oh, man. So this might be why the video Yeah, I might have some clipping going on because I just realized one of the nice things that the Tyranics mini panel does on the front of it now, it allows you to see the live video feed on like a little 1.8-inch display. I just realized it auto sets to 30 frames per second, and I've got the software set to 48 frames per second, so there may be some disconnect there. We'll have to see what that looks like. Alright, so I think I've got time to put one more race in before I'm going to take a break here. Force feedback effects in this are surprisingly good for a racing game on PC. Going to an Xbox 360 controller. Really impressed.
Congratulations, you have unlocked a special gift. Hey Ben, you're like untouchable, man.
So that's what I'm using for video capture. For voiceover commentary, I'm using the LiveStream L58
Just buy your ticket to Morocco.
microphone in a suspension ring on top of a Samsung mic stand. So I really like the mic stand. It's like a I don't know, 6-inch high mic stand with like a large round, like 3 to 5 pound base. So it's really sturdy and doesn't move around a lot if I knock into the table during a podcast or something. And also obviously works well for streams. Drive the FJ. So one of the things I haven't used yet is the in-dashboard view. I also really haven't tried any of the horns. So the L58 might arguably be my highest quality microphone. The voice quality, the audio quality on it, I feel is really good and ranks really high in comparison to the other microphones that I use. And I've got a bunch of other microphones. Because of course one of the shticks of my channel and the website is doing reviews of these different gear components and checking them out in comparison to each other. So, not absolutely positive how much the LiveStream ran me. I want to say it was maybe just over 100. But it's an XLR mic, so it's a studio quality mic. Came with XLR cables as well as cable to a 3.5-inch stereo jack. What a jerk. It also includes a 48-volt phantom power supply, so that's a big deal. Now that I didn't have to get that separately. I'm using it today without a windscreen, which it comes with one, but I'm not using it today. And I'm not using a pop filter. And I'm not pumping it through the mixer, which I sometimes do.
Maybe you're too good for me. Maybe.
Now today I'm also using the Elgato Stream Deck, which has a solid amount of functionality if you use it with Elgato Game Capture HD software, but doesn't do a whole lot otherwise. I'm really hoping that they pack some more capability onto it, because I can see how it would be particularly effective, especially for live streams. Right now, I just have it set up to
Gotta stay focused
to do my Twitter announcement when my stream is live, which it is very helpful to be able to just push a button and do that rather than have to go to my iPad or whatever tablet I'm using and manually type that in. I can type it in on a PC beforehand and then just hit the button. I also use it. Oh no! Whew, no. I also use it to drop the initial comment in the chat room. So minor things, but they do actually save, a not insignificant amount of time once the stream is up and I'm going live. The hill climb on this is really good. Still came in third though. And then for software, I'm using OBS today. And I'm trying to stream. I have a feeling it's not going to come out as good looking as I was hoping it would, but I'm trying to stream at 5 megabits per second at 48 frames per second. So we will see how it goes. And I have still failed to make sure that the possibly protected music was squelched, so I'm going to do that before I bring the game down and take a pause before my second live stream. So yeah, despite its age, I'm still really a huge fan of Dirt 2. I'm really happy I got it working. It's kind of funny because, of course, since this release in the 8 years, of course, Dirt 3 has come out, and I've got that. Dirt Rally came out, and I have that, and Dirt 4 came out this year, and I have that. So I've got 4 games in the series. And of course, on a Saturday afternoon, this is the one that I decided to play when there are, Dirt Rally and Dirt 4 are significantly more advanced than this game was. I think overall I prefer this to Dirt 3, though, which has a lot of the Gymkhana events and stuff, and drifting events, which I'm not super crazy about. This is definitely more rooted in Rally. And you can still go to X Games. Oh yeah, options are outside. So I want to see. Okay, yeah, so I've got this running at 3840 by 2160. And you can see, despite being cranked up, the frames per second counter over there on the left, which I'm assuming with that much headroom, I'm still getting probably over 120 when I'm actually racing. Audio. So I know that it does not make the game as interesting when I do this, but like I said, I'm highly concerned that some of this music is copyrighted. And one of the things I hate, if you've ever seen it on my channel, is there's a video of Need for Speed Most Wanted that, because I had one song in the feed, and really it only plays until I go into like the menu screen or whatever. It plays for like 30 seconds, and YouTube squelched all of the audio for the entire video, which was like a 45-minute video, so there's zero audio. Not just no music, but there's no like game engine, none of my voiceover commentary or anything. So I really try to avoid playing the background music in my live streams from the game because of that reason. So that's going to do it for me for this first live stream today. I'm going to try and do a second. I may get that in right away, or I may not. Not sure how I'm doing on time. There's some family stuff I got to do, but thanks so much for joining in to the live stream, or wandering by and checking out the video later. Over on YouTube. So once again, my name has been Gascon Stamus from gearworks.com, here today with another episode of My Gaming Diary on my channel on Twitch, which is under my name, Gascon, or if you're watching this on YouTube, on the Rounding Off Infinity Gaming channel on YouTube. So thanks so much for joining in, stopping by, checking in later. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If I have comments enabled, I don't enable them on every video. And please be sure to head over to the E2KG Network channel on YouTube and check out the podcast that all my friends and I do. So thanks again. That's going to do it for me. I'm out of here.